Liberal judge lets immigrant who murdered two doctors go free for sick reason. Liberalism is a cancer on society that allows the worst elements of a culture to flourish and spread, undermining peace and prosperity for all. Lisa Grant, a liberal judge from Boston, has blood on her hands after she let a criminal immigrant go free, simply for being an immigrant who could get deported. The immigrant then went on to murder two doctors in their own home. Dr. Lina Bolaños and Dr. Richard Field had their engagement cut short when Bampumim Teixeira, an immigrant from Africa, broke into their penthouse suite in a luxury apartment in downtown Boston. Dr. Field managed to send a message to a friend urging him to call police, who immediately responded. When they arrived at the condo, police found a set of keys on the ground just outside of the locked front door. After receiving no response to their shouts, they unlocked the door to discover the pitch-black apartment. Teixeira was spotted with a weapon by one of the officers, and a firefight erupted. The immigrant was shot 3 times. Thankfully, no officers were injured. Police searched the apartment and found a black backpack full of jewels, confirming the motive of Teixeira. They also discovered the 2 doctors, now deceased, with their throats slit. Teixeira received his bail hearing from his hospital bed. The public defendant appointed to his case did not object when the immigrant was ordered to be held without bail. However, to make a tragic murder even worse, Teixeira should have never been free to commit the crime. Teixeira was found guilty for 2 counts of robbing a bank in 2014 and 2016. The liberal judge, Lisa Grant, sentenced Teixeira to 364 days in prison. If he was sentenced to 365, he would have been deported. If an engineer designs an unsafe bridge and it collapses, she is held responsible. If an electrician incorrectly wires a house and it burns down, he is held responsible. Yet, when a liberal judge lets a guilty man free for political reasons, they are not held responsible when 2 doctors die. The judge gave Teixeira a light sentence specifically because he is an immigrant, and would have been deported. Lisa Grant has blood on her hands. She decided that the comfort of a violent criminal was worth more than the life of American citizens. A true patriot would never do that. Do you think Lisa Grant should be held accountable? Please share the story on Facebook and tell us what you think, because we want to hear your voice. Supreme Court just gave Muslims massive smackdown they've had coming for years. Outrage immediately ensues. 9 U.S. Supreme Court judges and made a decision that caused Americans to cheer and Muslims to jeer. The American schools have been saved from being poisoned by the Muslim indoctrination of Sharia law and Islam. This is a huge victory for Americans, as most of us want nothing to do with such a violent religion that believes in oppressing women, beating wives, marrying children, and throwing gays off rooftops. It's basically a liberal's nightmare. Yet there were still 4 judges who thought voting for it would be anything but a disaster for American schools. In a 5-4 vote, the Islams were handed the smackdown that Americans have wanted for years. Sure, there's always those mentally challenged liberals who fight for rights of everyone, even if the people they're fighting for are most likely to destroy them, like the shooter at an Orlando nightclub who murdered gays, or the people who flew airplanes into the Twin Towers. The American schools are not a place to learn religions of which there's a huge conflict with the citizens of the country you're in. There should not be the teaching of Islam in any American schools unless the Islamic communities want to host their own schools and do their own thing there. Sure, have fun. That's your freedom in this country, but trying to force that upon the majority of the Americans who want nothing to do with a religion that treats people so poorly is not happening. Not while Gorsuch is draped in a judge outfit, that's for sure. The full panel of the U.S. Supreme Court consisted of 9 judges, met today, and they finally made the fate-sealing decision of Islamic indoctrination in American public schools by the far left-wing insane people that our educational system was infiltrated by after the Second World War. The decision that the Supreme Court made caused the Islamic indoctrination of the young in our nation lose their mind. Thanks to the tie-breaking vote made by Neil Gorsuch, the newly appointed Supreme Court nominee, the U.S. Supreme Court was able to hand out a decision banning Sharia law and Islam from being taught in classrooms. On the matter, Gorsuch stated, "The government certainly has no business being involved in religion, But this isn't a government issue or a religious issue. This is about the judicial branch interpreting the laws as they apply to the teaching of religion. We should be teaching any religions in this country besides standard Judeo-Christianity, as our founders wanted, and we certainly shouldn't be filling the children with lies about Islam being a religion of peace when they see the carnage on the news almost every day. It is our duty as Americans first and judges second to safeguard the way our children are indoctrinated. The 5-4 victory is worth cheering for, but there's a huge concern. The fact that 4 of these people in charge of making decisions on the Supreme Court level think that it's okay to teach Islam in schools means there are 4 people incapable of making logical decisions at the Supreme Court level. I'm more worried about that than I am about finding out that people are forced to teach Islam in a school. The fact that our decision makers have such poor judgment and are so clearly destined to destroy America is a mind-blowing discovery that should be concerning to everyone in our country. If Muslims want to teach Islam in schools, then build a school and teach it in your own school. The American school systems are ours, and we simply don't want that as part of our culture. No offense, ladies, but you're dressed in what's considered a tablecloth for Americans. I think you need to chill out with that nonsense and hit up Target for some sales. Plenty of nice, respectable, trendy, and beautiful clothes to pick from that don't make you look like a washed-up teenage dirtbag slinging rocks on the corner and selling your body. You can dress like a respectable American instead of draping yourself like a set of curtains while your husband wears whatever he wants as you're sweating in the hot summer sun. Oppressed much? I think so. Is that what we want to teach our school students? Do we need to teach them that Muslim women are oppressed? I wouldn't want kids at any school to think that anyone is oppressed. We want students to think freely and develop their own system of beliefs while living up to high standards and expectations. Does the religion of Islam do that? No. It doesn't even allow women to select their own clothes. How can you trust a religion that doesn't trust its women to dress themselves? Female genital mutilation sound fun? We can register girls for that when they sign up for kindergarten. Imagine how fun that will be on back-to-school night when your child is getting sliced up by a prehistoric ritualistic monster. I think we need some modernization and assimilation with Islam before it's widely accepted in America. We need to stop with the terrorist attacks, start getting along, and for the love of everything holy, please let the Muslim women wear whatever they want. We're not prehistoric barbarians living in a desert. We're in America. We can wear whatever we want. Some of us do it poorly, like the pictures of people in Walmart, but at least they have a choice. Take some advice from this judge who had some words to new citizens.